Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my 12-part eclipse series on the eclipses going through the signs and houses. Definitely go to lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com, which is my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, to enroll in free courses and all kinds of other offerings I have through there. And when you search for my name, Annie Botticelli, in an internet search, you'll see all kinds of listings of mostly free resources that I make for you to facilitate your study of astrology and your quest for vibrational wellness. So this series is talking about eclipses. I'm doing one eclipse video for each sign and house. Okay, so every sign in astrology corresponds with a house in the zodiac wheel. And so an eclipse in a certain sign is also the energy of that corresponding house. And this becomes very helpful to understand when you want to go deeper in your study of eclipses and how they may affect you, and understanding the opportunities and the lessons that are at play during each eclipse cycle. Each eclipse cycle is about 2 years long, and every 6 months in those 2 years we have a hot spot where the actual eclipses occur. So the storylines, the themes, the lessons, the opportunities, the chances to clear karma and get on our dharmic path, which is our highest expression path, which is what the eclipses really represent. They occur along the nodal line, and the nodes represent clearing karma and stepping into our highest expression. So every eclipse that we have and every eclipse cycle that's at play is really facilitating us in healing, clearing karma, and on stepping on our highest trajectory, which is our dharma, our purpose, why we're here. So that's why it's really important to understand them, and why I spend so much time creating resources to facilitate this for you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on what eclipses, what they represent and what they can bring, and then we'll go into the featured sign and house for this video. Okay, so these eclipses happen twice a year usually. Sometimes it's every 6 months basically, so it could be the beginning of one year and then in the middle and then towards the end, or they're broken up that way. So when the eclipses come, they tend to bring alive and into clear view that scientific law that matter is not created, neither created nor destroyed, it just changes form. We can really see that at play at the eclipses, where it's taking energy from one area, because the eclipses run with polarities. Okay, so there are 12 signs and there are 6 polarities. So there's signs that oppose each other, that are a pair. And the eclipses happen in these 2 opposing signs throughout that 2 years. So it's a reshuffling and a reworking of energy. So one eclipse cycle, it will take from one area and add to the other, and vice versa. So we're just kind of shifting and reshuffling and reorganizing energy in those arenas of your life. The eclipses occur in certain signs, and those effects are global. But they also drill down into certain areas of your chart for each sign, and that understanding this and watching these videos will help you to take the work deeper. Now, in order to figure out during each eclipse cycle what houses are being accentuated for you personally, just watch my monthly videos, and somewhere in the area of the eclipse time, I'll be talking about it, but it will save me a lot of time having this video series to refer you to, so we don't have to cover all of this in each of the horoscope videos, which is what I used to do. Okay, so this reshuffling of energy, where basically the energy isn't it isn't created, it changes forms. So we might see a grandparent die and a child be born. So for that person who's experiencing that, it's like an area of their lives that was present with them for their whole lives is gone, but now this new energy is here. So it's like this major reshuffling of energy, and it very often has very, very major trajectory changes for a lot of people, and it's going to depend on the exact degree that it's hitting planets in your chart. But if it's really affecting you, you'll know it. Everybody else may have a subtle change that's harder to notice or recognize, but it's definitely affecting everyone, regardless of whether we're aware of it or not. And the more you look, the more you'll see these things at play. So eclipse season, what I call eclipse season, lasts about 4 to 6 and even sometimes 8 weeks before the actual eclipse. You'll see a heating up. It's kind of like, I always think about it as a pot on a stove, where it's like a certain pot, okay, and a certain liquid in that pot that has a certain energy that has the signs that are in that eclipse cycle. And during the actual eclipse time, it heats up to a boil, and then during the times in between, it's like down to a simmer. And then turn up, the universe cranks up the messages and they convert from the inner world into the outer world, and we get to see them more clearly. And so it heats up and then it kind of fades back down, and it heats up, but the themes are always at play for these 2 months. For these 2 years. Okay, so just make sure I tell everything else. So the things that happen at eclipse time tend to feel destined a lot of times, where things happen, and a lot of times it's out of our control. Eclipses often bring non-negotiable changes to our lives. It can be very scary and very stressful. So it's definitely a key point around eclipse time to do modalities that help you to ease anxiety, and I discuss those in videos and other offerings that I have on how you can keep the anxiety level low so that you can stay connected with your intuition and with spirit and navigate through them in the easiest way. Okay, so even though there are certain things in our lives that are fated and unavoidable, there are definitely things we have some say in, and we can shift our experience of those events. So understanding all of these things and doing inner work to help clear out the karmic gunk that's coming up can be part of how we can have a better experience of the things that are fated to happen. Okay, so just make sure there's everything I wanted to talk about there. Okay, yeah, so just the overview is that eclipses as an astronomical occurrence happen at the time they're happening, but eclipses as an astrological occurrence happen for all of the time they're occurring. And you'll notice for the years that a certain eclipse cycle is happening, if you go back to the last time or last times that eclipse cycle happened, there are themes at play that will likely come back into your life. It doesn't mean the same things will happen per se, but you'll see the same lessons, the same topics that are moving you along in a certain area of life. Okay, so now let's check out the sign and house of focus. Eclipse time is a time for drama, a time for accomplishment, a time for excitement, and things coming to fruition in a big way, surprise changes, or movement along a path as expected. When there are eclipses in the 12th house or Pisces, they tend to bring even more emotion. All eclipses bring emotion because the moon is involved and the moon rules our inner realm. So eclipse time tends to be pretty emotional. Most of the time, there's some way, if you look hard enough, where you can see the eclipse energies working in your life. Some of the manifestations are more subtle and they're working on the inner layers. So they might be a little bit harder to track and see in a tangible way. And that could be especially true for a Pisces or 12th house manifestation. Also, depending on the mathematical connection between the actual degree of the eclipse and your personal placements, could make the difference in whether or not this is an eclipse or an eclipse cycle that really is bringing the biggest changes for you, or if you're just holding space or watching other people to go through things. Sometimes if you're not having the eclipse hit you in a very notable way, then you're holding space for other people as they go through changes. But it is definitely important to understand the nature of the eclipse in the certain placements, because a lot of times there are subtle workings maneuvering around in the backdrop away from our general consciousness or awareness, that if you knew it was going on, you could work with it more closely. And definitely in general, high emotion for all eclipses, especially for water energies, especially the 12th house and Pisces. And the emotion can be for better or worse. So something that tends to be highlighted more at eclipse time in the 12th house or Pisces is dream time. Issues with sleep, resolutions for sleep issues, notable dreams, dream activity, starting to step into different ways of working with your dreams, either just naturally it happening or you purposely using it this way, like lucid dreaming or dream journaling to help you recall and make sense and most use the energy of your dreams. And the dream energy is very much related to the subconscious mind. So harnessing and having a greater level of mastery over your subconscious mind is one of the goals of this eclipse cycle. And sometimes that comes through mental instability, showing you where you really have places in there to master. Some of it comes through spiritual breakthrough. Fears and addictions tend to come into the forefront in a big way. I always call this 12th house, or the energy of Pisces, the Harry Potter energy. So where he's got these fears, and they manifest that they seem like really, big ways outside of him. But really it's his own inner journey. It's his own inner battle. And so the battles that we have internally tend to be highlighted in this 12th house. It's very much like an attic where there are resources, inner riches that are there to be cultivated and to be mined. And there are also fears and dirt and, things to be wiped and cleared and organized and set straight in order to make the most of that space. So this eclipse time might be a time where you have to face a fear, but that's also the time where you can get through the fear. And if there's an addiction involved, that may come into the forefront. Healing of your mind through psychology, hypnosis, neurofeedback, or other help from other practitioners is a very major theme that tends to come up at this time. So if you tend to have some instability in that place, you don't have to bring fear into the situation of worrying what's going to happen. You can be proactive, get your team together, know that you may have more activity in that realm, and take a more active role through diet. Diet can very much affect the psyche. Sugar levels can affect the psyche. And imbalances, chemical imbalances can also. So educating yourself on these topics could be a manifestation of the eclipse, or having breakthroughs. The taking of a retreat or sacred space, going on a retreat, is an amazing way this energy can manifest. Claiming of your sacred space. All people are sentient beings, which means that we're feeling our way through life. When our fields interact with other people's fields, sometimes it's hard to differentiate what we've got going on from what other people have going on. So really owning your sacred space, making a breakthrough, making a commitment during this time, and having the impetus to do that is one of the major manifestations. So taking space within your home, where you claim it and you own that space energetically. Clearing out your energy field, making, standing on the earth with bare feet is one way that I do it. Epsom salts or sea salt baths. You can use essential oils. You can use meditation. You can use prayer. Whatever it is that helps you to clear out that auric field around you. We all have an auric field around us. This isn't metaphysical anymore. Science is catching up with being able to sense these subtle fields. So imagining that auric field around you and imagining it accumulating with other people's energy and your own, and imagining it be cleared out and putting systems together to clear it out are all part of this eclipse cycle, because that affects your psychological and emotional state. So the more you can step into rhythms like this and practices that help you to use your subconscious space, including asking yourself, your subconscious, a question before you go to bed. And asking for answers in your dreams or when you wake up, so just working with that cosmic soup and the Akashic records and just the place where there's all one, and getting insights from that place. So any inner work, The Presence Process by Michael Brown is one of my all-time favorite inner work resources. Also, EFT, the Emotional Freedom Technique, is a very free, there are tons of free resources on it that you can use to master your subconscious mind more and to harness your unruly negative patterning and face your fears and addictions. Another way that this 12th house and Pisces energy can manifest is with artistic and creative expression. So just a time to be quiet, to have a new creative project, to have an old creative project come to fruition, to have changes with your creativity cycle, to have anything having to do with the space that you do your creative work, or creating a space for your creative work, whether that's space like making the time or an actual space in your home. Those are all ways that I have seen, and these energies manifest, and how you can best use the energy at this time. On the topic of addictions, major breakthroughs or occurrences can happen along these fronts. And this is an amazing time to be able to actually face an addiction and to get help for it and to get freedom from it and to really crack the matrix of the patterning. But a lot of times that might need, first of all, some outside support, but also inner accountability and doing the work in order to clear it. I have seen many people have major spiritual insights, major connection from the spiritual realms, ethereal support, ethereal connection with people who've crossed over, major insights that can be life-changing occur in this cycle. So I hope you loved this. Definitely look at my other resources. If you search for my name, Annie Botticelli, online, you'll find tons of things that I offer you. You can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, for lots of blogs and other things that can facilitate your journey. You can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com for written horoscopes, lifestyle blogs, and astrology kissed information that I think you will just love. You can go to lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com, to see my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. And definitely check out my growing list of books, including my new book, Planetology. If you search for Annie Botticelli and Planetology and Annie Botticelli, Radical Prayer, those are the two books that are out as of the time of my recording this. And I'm sure as this goes on, you will see more books coming out from me. I hope you have a wonderful eclipse season, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!